How do the headphones sound?
I can't hear anything.
You can't hear anything?
Mm-mm.
Oh, that's because they're down.
Check, 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 check. It could be louder.
I'm turning it up, turning
check,
it up,
check.
turning it up.
Yeah, it's good.
All right.
Could probably turn down the hair, actually.
Everybody likes theirs quiet. I love mine loud.
Check, check, check. What kind of throws me off a little bit? Like, it doesn't feel like, it feels like you're right here.
That's what it's supposed to feel. It's supposed to be intimate.
Yeah.
Intimate friendships. By far my most attractive guest so far on this podcast.
Really?
Yes.
That means a lot coming from you because I think you're very attractive.
Really?
Yeah, we kind of have this healthy friendship where we both think we're attractive, but it's in a healthy way.
It's still very straight.
Yeah, still very straight. I'm married, so
To a woman.
thanks for clarifying that.
Which is good.
Yes.
So since it's your first time on here, just give everybody a little bit of who you are and what you do.
I am Caleb's friend, and I do hanging out with. No, I'm kidding. Me and you have been friends we met in the worship team. My name's Elijah. For those of you who don't know.
Oh yeah, I forgot to say your name.
Yeah. Thanks for introducing me. You're killing it right off bat.
Yep, it's my profession.
But I work at Res Life, and I am the youth worship. My title is facilitator, but I feel like I'm more of a coordinator. But I pretty much just make sure that there's worship in the youth, and I do anything related to that, like schedules. I actually lead the worship, do all the trips, plan the camping trips, and anything in between, like ministry and discipleship and things like that for our volunteers and students.
The actual title isn't worship leader?
No, it's youth worship facilitator. Which
well, that still makes sense then. Because you're not
Yeah.
always on the platform,
Yeah.
right? You're like doing stuff in the office.
Yeah, I told Mackenzie that I was like, I feel like our job description should be youth, or hers would be access, but like director, because like you're literally making it all happen. But then she was like, I feel like that's way too serious. Like I feel like we're not that high up, so director wouldn't be the move.
Wow, that's kind of a put down.
No, I mean technically not, because she's in this. We're like at the same exact level of, because she does access at a youth, and then Landon's kind of our manager in a way. If you think about it, if you're going based off of like worldly job descriptions, and then like David is like a manager of managers of managers.
So like the Pope
Yeah.
would be like the church lingo.
Mm-hmm.
So then Landon would be
He'd be a manager of managers.
apostle.
Yeah.
Well, you said like worldly.
Oh, because
I know
in
you
church
meant.
you don't use the word like. At least I've never been in ministry and had someone be a manager.
Yeah, that's true.
I've never heard that title.
I wonder why that is.
I'm sure it just. I mean, I don't know why. Actually, I couldn't even tell you my guess. I like it. I like their descriptions. They're fine.
Yeah, no, I'm not mad at them. I was just curious as to why they choose. And it's not just Res, it's everybody.
Yeah, me and Landon talk about how much we miss you all the time.
Oh, that's so special.
Yeah, you're such a good bass player. I like that you came and visited that one time. That was kind of cool.
For the bass seminar?
I forgot about that. I was referring to the night of worship, but that was cool too. That was cool. I was like, nice surprise. I didn't even know you were coming.
Know I was coming? Adam invited me.
Was it worth it?
Yeah.
He's like...
I mean, it was stuff that...
You already knew.
Yeah, it was stuff that I already knew, but I don't want to ever put myself in a place where...
You know it all.
Yeah.
Always be a student.
Always be a student.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah, I went to a little bit of that. It was cool, but I'm just not super... I didn't go. I'm not interested in learning bass, but I was kind of interested in like knowing kind of the functions to a degree.
I wonder how someone can say you're not interested in learning bass. I can't believe you just said that out loud.
No, I said I'm not.
No, I know. I'm saying I can't believe anybody would ever say that.
Dude, I have trauma with bass.
Seriously?
I have trauma.
Like
yeah, it's not real trauma, but it's like funny trauma. But it's actually, I feel like it's.
Oh, are you talking about that slap story?
Like it's actually somewhat true. No, that kind of plays into it maybe, but I've been on the worship team at Res since I was like 11 years old, which I think the age now is like you got to be 14, but I got on that team young. And
they always let people on there young.
We're pretty like strict about it now. But
Okay.
did you ever meet Patrick Konechny? Maybe you were like right when he was leaving.
Years ago, before I started on the Res worship team, I was actually going to join it.
Mm-hmm.
This had to have been when I was either in high school or maybe even in 8th grade. So I actually did meet him, and I went to Res when he was the worship leader. But then when I officially joined, he was gone.
Okay. Well, this is my bass story why I was like, I don't like playing bass, because I'm a guitar player. I started out being a guitar player. And one day he was just like, hey, Eli, you know how to play bass? And I was like, no. He's like, you want to learn? I was like, oh, sure, yeah. And so he like taught me, and he's like, oh, you're good. You want to be on the schedule for bass? And I'm not kidding. I never played guitar ever again. I played bass for the next 4 years, and I did not like it, but I was too young to be like, I was just kind of like, okay, whatever. Like, I just want to be on the team.
Oh, the trauma was that you had to keep playing it.
Yeah, and I didn't want to, and I was too. I like, at that age, not a lot of young students are in the mindset of like speaking up, or like you just like whatever. Like, I'm on the team. Like, I just want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And I did not like playing bass, and I don't want to say I was forced. I wasn't forced to, but I just, as a kid, just like, this is all I get to do. Like, it's this or nothing. So I just did that.
I will say that when you're young and you're on a worship team playing bass, it can be incredibly boring.
Well, I just want to be heard too. Like, I wasn't at that point when you're like 14, you're not like playing. I'm just speaking for myself, I guess. Maybe everybody's not like this at 14, but I was just like, I want to be heard. I want to be on stage. I want people to like see me.
And bass is the last instrument for that.
Well, that's where you had mentioned the slap story. I was like, I didn't even know how to slap. I just thought you just smacked the crap out of the string and like that's slapping. And that's bam, bam, bam. Just like it's so funny to think about now because it's probably sounded so bad. But I ended up not being able to hear myself in my ears. So like, what the heck? And then I talked to the guy at the time who was doing sound, and I was like, hey, did you turn me off? And he's like, yeah, you're smacking the bass so hard it was just clip, clip, clip. Clipping, for those of you who don't know what clipping is, it's where it goes past the limiter of what it can process, and it just distorts like ridiculously.
You must have been hitting it really bad then.
Bro, I was. I remember like it's yesterday, bro. I was just, bah, bah. Like, I was actually like, slapping, you usually just kind of like give it a little.
Yeah, it's the wrist movement.
I was picking my hand off and just smacking
like a
it.
bow and arrow. Almost.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
I remember John was trying to show me how to slap once, and I was like, dude, you are doing it so wrong. He was almost doing that same thing that you were doing. And he was using his pinky to pluck it.
Did you hear? Okay, speaking of John, did you hear his new mixes?
Yes.
I'm geeked on them, bro. They're so good.
Which ones did he show you?
He sent me, me and John always send our music back and forth to each other, but the most recent ones was Wait and
the Landon mix of Wait?
Yeah, Wait.
I want to hear that one. I didn't get to hear that one yet.
Fire.
It sounds good.
Really good. And Blinded by the Eclipse. I love that vocal mix. Did he send you that one at least?
Yes, he sent me that one. That one sounds good.
Sounds sick.
I was happy with it. And I was actually using my... So these are broke, obviously.
What did you do?
I sat on these.
You got mad, didn't you? You don't want to admit to everyone that you get pissed and break your headphones.
Yeah, and I was mad, so I sat on them. I didn't say if it was an accident. I purposely sat on them.
Ah! that's a questionable way to break your headphones.
Yeah, so I actually was able to. So if you do this, and you be careful, you can put them around your ears. I was thinking about doing duct tape.
No,
because then it would look cool.
You have super glue?
Somewhere.
Bro,
I'm not doing it right now.
Yeah, no worries.
Anyway, I was listening to them on the Beats headphones, and they sounded really good. Blinded by the Eclipse. What's funny about that is that song was actually my idea.
What, like the idea of the song? Like, hey, you should make a song about being blinded by the eclipse.
That's exactly what I told him.
And then John was like, he's dope. He's that type of guy where he was like, bet. He'd probably even tell you, bet. He's just like, oh yeah, that'd be cool. And then he sends you a song like,
and then there it was
in a couple hours.
I was falling asleep.
I love that. That's a great story. He needs to, when he markets that song, he needs to share that story because that's hilarious.
Well, I was falling asleep, And I was reading in the next to my bed I had a candle, and I was like, man, if I fell asleep and this candle was on all night, it would burn this place down and I would die. And then I thought of Death by Candlelight. And then for some reason I was like, hey, John, you should write a song called Death by Candlelight, but make it about being blinded by the eclipse.
That's funny. That's a good song, dude.
Haha, that's a funny name. And then a couple days later I get this song. He's like, here it is.
And you got the Landon mix.
Yeah, I got the Landon mix now, just a couple days ago.
Okay, fire.
Yeah, it does sound good.
Yeah, I gave Landon some ideas that I had for it, but I was like, if John doesn't want it, don't use it. But I'm excited for his music to come. Even me and Landon were talking about it, and I was like, at least Landon, I was giving him props for his new mixes, and he was talking about how he's like, yeah, I don't even the last mix that I did for John. He's like, those are all right, but I don't even consider those like good anymore because he feels like he's learned so much just in the past like 3 to 4 months that he's like significantly better in his opinion and in my opinion. I think there's a big difference. Did you notice the difference from like Blinded by the Eclipse compared to like his last album?
Yes.
It's like actually a huge difference.
Mm-hmm. The bass is nice and crisp.
The vocals are like super HD, like super nice. We're just gassing John up. You better watch this.
I'd have to re-listen because honestly, when he sends me the mix, the only thing I'm listening for is the bass. And like everything sounds good. Like if something sounds bad, if the vocals sounded bad, I would notice it.
Yeah.
But I didn't notice why the vocals were good.
They were good. I'm listening for everything. Like I'm literally listening for everything. How present are the guitars? How present's the bass? How good does the vocal sound? What are the drum grooves? Like I listen for all of it.
I wish I had that gift, but it's like my ears just want to hear everything about the bass. Like, are my fills correct? Do they sound good? Does the mix of it sound good?
That's crazy.
I know. It's kind of annoying because it'd be
You're missing
cool.
out on 80% of the song.
Well, to me, bass is 100% of the song. You know how it be.
No, I don't. I'm a guitar player and a vocalist, and I don't just listen for vocals and guitar.
Well, you should. Just try it sometime.
No. That's just, yeah. I gotta listen for all of it. That's just naturally what comes to me. Especially like I'm no mixing engineer, but I make my demos. Like before I send it to my engineer, I'll make a demo of the song that's kind of like a rough idea, and I like try to make it sound the best that I can. So I naturally just look for everything.
So you really just can hear everything all together and say, yeah, that sounds good.
It's a mix of that, but also picking apart each thing like individually. Like, okay, the bass is nice. Then, okay, move on. In my head, the drums. Oh, that's really nice. Okay, move on. Okay, the guitar. And then I'll think like, for instance, Blinded by the Eclipse. I was listening to the guitars and I was like, oh, I like the verse. And then the chorus came in and I was listening to everything. But then I was like, this could use some like chunking guitars. I'll even think of what I would add myself into it. So I told Landon, I was like, you should bring this up to John. But I was like, I just picture like chunking guitars in the chorus. Dun, 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 and then like maybe like some like small guitar fills to add color. Like I also think of what I would also add into songs too.
Did John say yes to those?
I haven't even talked about it with him. I don't know. I would tell him. I haven't asked him. No, I haven't said anything. I don't usually like to give people feedback right away in a sense of like, I don't want someone to send me a song and instantly I'd tell them what they should add to it. It feels kind of weird.
Yeah, I can see that. It's kind of annoying. Or would be annoying.
Yeah, I'll usually like, because I love the song. I mean, sure, there's things that add to it. When he sends to me, I was like, this is sick. So I like was just telling him how sick I thought it was because I thought it was really dope. And I was just also gassing up Landon to John. I was like, oh, bro, like Landon's mixes are getting so good. This song's really good. And then, maybe, because he's not going to maybe he will put the song. He is the type of guy that'll put the song out right away. But usually, if I really feel like a song could use something, I'll let him know like a week later. If I see John pretty frequently.
I want to know what goes on in his brain.
Like with making music?
Yeah, he just cranks out songs.
Yeah, he's getting really good at. He's getting
they're
really good all around.
They're really catchy and fun, and they're like they're simple, but they're catchy and fun.
Yeah, dude. I think specifically in the past like 6 months to 7 months, he's like just like how Landon's mixing has gotten like he's leveled up. I feel like John has leveled up in his songwriting and like his catchy melodies.
Yeah, me too. Because I mean, I've been with him since 2019. I've been recording music with him.
I would say his melodies have always been pretty solid, but he's really getting better at writing lyrics.
I would say even musically too. His guitar,
his lines are more catchy.
The guitar is a lot more catchy. It's not just he used to would just be like chord progression.
Yeah,
it'd either be like chunking or strumming,
and
it'd be either fast or slow tempo. But that would be really all that he would do. And now there's actual lines in there.
John, remember me when you're famous.
Me too,
dude. I was telling John, I was like, we're just on a John rant right now. He's the topic of conversation. It's okay, we'll go with the flow. But I was telling John that that I can tell that he's inspired by Hot Mulligan with his song titles. His new song, 45 millimeters in dog years.
45 millimeters long and dog years.
So I asked him, I was like, I love the song, I love the mix, but I was like, so like what inspired this name? Because it obviously has nothing to do with, it's like a breakup song.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, he said that it's a dog joke. You know what? It's okay. He said it's a dog joke. And I was like, and I just told him, I was like, I love this song. I was like, I can tell that you listen to a lot of Hot Mulligan. Because if anyone is familiar with Hot Mulligan, if you look at their album, it's like really random titles. I think one of them is like John Cena, like something, Can You See Me? And it's like a love song.
By Hot Mulligan.
Yeah, and all of their like track titles have nothing to do with the song.
Is Hot Mulligan a Michigan thing?
Yeah, they're Midwest emo. I don't really listen to them a lot, but I like their stuff.
Okay, I was thinking that they were from Michigan because where was that we played Mulligans?
Yeah, Mulligans.
Yes,
I thought the same thing. They have nothing to do with that, but it's funny because it's like the same.
It is the same. Very much the same.
Maybe they played there. They probably have.
Yeah, they would have had to.
I liked playing at Mulligan's when we played John's show. That was pretty cool. I like that place.
It was a lot bigger than I remember last time because I remember I played there way before even COVID. That's funny. I have to like remember things before and after COVID at this point.
Oh, when John was first starting getting.
No, I played with my buddies. This was before I volunteered at Res. It had to have been 2014.
I didn't know you've been about it with bass for that long.
I've been playing bass for probably about 15 years, 16 years.
Are you still practicing? Are you still keeping yourself fresh? But you're not like, oh, I haven't played my bass in 2 months.
Correct. I actually just played at Harbor Life with Luigi yesterday.
Oh, nice. You like that church? Or is it just
right.
Like a gig kind of to you?
It's kind of a gig at this point. And so I want to get back into practicing every day because for a while I was practicing just 10 minutes every day.
Yeah.
And I could feel myself getting really good. John would send me a song and boom, I'd have something. If you listen to the last album, it's like there's so much creativity on my end of what I'm adding.
Yeah, you're the melodic lead in a lot of those songs.
And then this last one, it was a little bit more of a challenge for me to do things. Actually on Wait, when I recorded Wait, I was still in that zone of practicing 10 minutes a day. And you can definitely hear it because there's a lot going on in that. That actually took a lot of skill that I had gathered.
Yeah.
And now it's just hard with working full time, trying to do the podcast, trying to get that practice time in. So it would be cool to, obviously.
You're doing 2 jobs now.
3 jobs now, yeah.
3 jobs? What's the third one?
I thought you said 3 jobs and we're referring to this as my 3rd job.
Well, I mean, this is more fun though.
It is more fun. Even editing the videos, even though sometimes it can be a pain, it can be kind of fun.
Dude, I hate editing. You can edit mine if you want.
Your music videos? I don't know how to do those.
Whatever.
No, it's just something to do on a Saturday morning. You just watch the YouTube video and then I don't have the editing software AI where it automatically flips it between who's talking.
Yeah.
So I have to go in and watch the whole video and then pause it, clip the video, delete like the half of whoever wasn't talking during that time.
Okay.
Because I like having it flip back and forth.
You probably spend like an hour on each video, maybe 2.
Depending on how long the episode is, yeah.
Yeah. What do you have this is kind of off topic, but not because we're talking about churches. Do you have a main church right now that you're going to?
Yeah, it's the Baptist one in Byron. Good old Baptist Byron.
Is that by Full Circle Coffee Shop?
What's close? What is considered close? Within 2 miles?
I think it's by the Jets that you worked at.
Full Circle?
Mm-hmm. It's like connected to it.
No, that is the Jets that I currently work at.
Okay.
You said, is it by Full Circle? I'm saying...
Yeah, is it like within 4 or 5 minutes?
Yes.
Okay, so it's pretty close to there. You don't play there, do you? You just attend?
I just attend. I'm probably going to...
They probably don't have like a full band, I'm guessing, there.
No, it's an electric bass, 2 acoustics, a drummer, and a pianist. I have to really watch how I say that word.
Why?
Pianist.
Oh. Are they... How's the worship there? I know, like, I'm so used to... Because Res obviously, like, they just have so many good worship leaders, and they are obviously very skilled at music, and that's what I grew up in, but I know that's not a common thing for most churches, which is, like, kind of a blessing for us, but how is it there?
Well, they keep the lights on so the Holy Spirit doesn't show up. It's kind of weird.
Really?
I'm just kidding. Well, they do keep the lights on. It's way different than Res.
Yeah,
it's kind of
they
funny.
Probably play, like, what do you call it? Like foundational songs that Res might play, maybe like I'm trying to think of a foundational song, like "Lead Me to the Cross" or like something like "How He Loves" or
not even. They don't even go to. Well, if it's the youth, they might hit "How He Loves" because they played.
They're probably doing like staple classics, though. They're probably not going for like what's new that Maverick City's playing. If I was to guess,
when they have the teen takeover services, they just played "Firm Foundation."
That's
Which
cool.
Even though that's by Maverick City, I do actually like that song. But when it's the teen takeover, they do like some.
That's
Hill
cool
song.
though that they do that. I like that. I feel like when it comes to, I don't really study denominations that much. I don't know, but you just kind of know like a vague stereotype. And I know that Baptists can kind of be all over the place where it's like really strict, and then some are a little bit looser to where they might have a teen takeover. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, everyone's like the teens do everything.
Would you say that's kind of loose for a Baptist church, and like what it like can be like a really strict belief of Baptist denomination?
Yeah, I would say it's probably a little bit more loose for a Baptist church. They once in a while, this older guy Dan Takins will go up and he'll lead worship. He's funny. But he'll say, "Oh, it's okay. You can clap."
Really?
Yeah, and
that's really
people aren't used to that there. So I would say there is some.
Tell me you
parts
lift
of
your hands up sometimes just to like be that guy where everyone's like, "Oh my gosh."
No, I didn't even really do that at Res.
I dare you. I know that you would do it. Like it's not even a bad thing. I dare you.
I don't think it's a bad thing, but I don't know if I would do it.
I just want to hear. Like I want you to come back and tell me a story from it.
I'll think about it. But I think a lot of Baptist churches probably don't allow clapping or dancing or any of that because some of them are fundamentalist. And I think
it's crazy. David can run around naked, and they call that glory to the Lord. And
yeah, but I think he was by himself.
Well, you know what I mean.
And I think he had something on.
Hey, dude. I'm just making a fun joke.
When you said David, I thought you were talking about David at Rose. I was like, bro, what?
No. I'm just saying there's definitely don't quote me on, I'm no biblical scholar by any means, but there's definitely a lot of examples in the Bible of people just doing where God just does stuff that you're like, that was kind of weird.
Yeah. I think a lot of times when they are dancing, I don't know, it seems like they're by themselves, but I don't know.
For sure. I don't think there's necessarily scripture like specifically like you have to lift your hands or the opposite side of don't lift your hands. I think it's kind of like a gray area where it's like some churches are like don't express yourself. They don't mean it like that, but that's how it comes off to what do you call it? More charismatic stuff. Like they hear like you're not lift your hands. They're like, "Oh, don't express yourself," and then a Baptist. What is their thoughts behind that? Actually, I don't know.
I was just gonna say that I think with fundamentalist, it's not that they think dancing or clapping is necessarily sinful. It's just they know the dangers of compromise, which it can be because say somebody's dancing in church and all of a sudden it's borderline provocative. And then somebody.
I have never seen someone throw it back at church before.
I'm not saying.
Could you imagine?
Right. I'm just saying.
Are they afraid that the young girl who's low key listening to Cardi B on the side might do something questionable?
You never know. That's the thing. I mean, it seems like a far cry within a church.
That's where I would hope that as a church leader, you would talk to that individual.
But this is where the problem comes in. If that were to happen and somebody says, hey, you can't dance like that, then all of a sudden they say, well, these people are dancing.
Go hang out with those people then.
No, I mean, like other people in the church, they could point them and be like, well, they're dancing. And then, well, what makes mine provocative? Is it because I'm a woman? Like, they could go down that route.
I feel like they're trying to put out a fire before it even happens. And I'm not even relating that to, like, 'cause what's that verse? Avoid even the appearance of evil, whatever. I don't think that I don't think you're even close to that territory in that area.
I don't know. I just think that's where they're coming from.
Oh, you're saying like that's just okay. I thought maybe like you knew of someone who's sharing this with you that's Baptist.
No, they never share those exact words, but I do listen to some fundamentalist YouTubers, Christian. I have like
you try to get, you want to get all the spectrums in you.
Yeah, I listen to some charismatic, as long as they're both. Okay, so I think both sides have issues. I think when you're overly charismatic, it's like almost way too based on experience and not enough theology.
Yeah.
But then on the flip side, when you're so like the reformed and cessationist side, which cessationist is like you don't believe in the
you're just never going to get it perfect. I'm a believer when it comes to picking a church or trying to find a church. Yes, you don't want to, I would say don't pick a church that's actually anti-Christian, like straight up teaching non-biblical things.
Well,
yeah. I'm just pointing that out. So, because what I'm about to say, so that's like said. But when it comes to picking a church, like it doesn't really matter. It matters to a degree, but not caring as much denominational. It's like, where's God calling you? I mean, I've heard stories of couples that are like 60 and they've been at the same church for 45, 50 years, like their whole life. And throughout that 45, 50 years, the church like changed denominations like 6 times, changed lead pastors like 4 times. And one of my friends who got to talk to this guy was like, well, why? Like, what kept you there? Like, why did you stay committed to that church after all those years and all those, like, that's just weird. That's a lot of weird transitions.
Yeah. And
he was like, well, God didn't call me to a denomination, and he didn't call me to us pastor. He called me to the people and to the church and this community. And he's like, was talking about how, he didn't come to church to agree with every single thing they do. He's here for the body and for the community. And this is the place that God called him to. And I was like, that's kind of profound. That was profound to me.
Yeah, that is.
Because I don't think there's anything wrong with being called to a different church or feeling like you got to go somewhere else. But I think there's a lot of freedom and knowing that you don't have to agree with every single thing that's said at a church or taught.
Yeah, you're never gonna find.
And you don't have to be like, oh, I'm this denomination. This is the only place I can be at either. And it's like, no, like what is God calling you to this place or not? Right? Like at Res, I know like God has called me to Res. There's been plenty of times where I'm like, oh, I don't really agree with this exactly, but that's okay.
Yeah,
I'm sure you've experienced that at churches, and obviously I know you've experienced it at Res, but I'm sure you even experienced it at the church you're at now.
No, the church I go to now is perfect.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, I was just saying there's dangers of being way too far certain sides, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Because when you're basing things just like purely off experience, like look at what happened with the United Methodists. I don't know if you heard about.
Is this recent?
Yeah.
No, I
with
did
the
not.
United Methodist denomination, they're now accepting gay clergymen.
Really?
And pastors, yeah. And it's like, if you ever see a Methodist church, their symbol is fire because they put so much emphasis on the Holy Spirit and experience. Mm-hmm. This is what I'm talking about.
Really, Methodist? See, I don't. You know so much more about denominations than I do. I thought Methodist was like really reserved, like closed off.
No, they're the first to fall on everything.
That's crazy.
It seems
I feel like I should know more about this stuff. I feel like it's beneficial to like know.
I think it's interesting. I love the fact that there's different denominations. I love that people can debate and argue on certain things as long as they can find the common ground.
That's why I like Ruslan. I know, like you said, recent times you haven't been as big of a fan, but what I've really appreciated about his podcast is he just seems like he's really good at not full on choosing a side.
Yeah.
And if he does kind of pick a side, like he tries to find the common ground with both people.
Yeah, he does. I'm not saying I dislike him or what he's saying.
Yeah. The podcast just hasn't appealed to your taste lately.
Yeah, it just seems like, and I know that a lot, like it's his way to get income, so he's got to get views and clicks. But the thumbnail sometimes, like all like that one, and like,
dude, that's the vibe.
I don't like that. And then sometimes he'll label the video something, and he'll barely talk about what that topic was.
Yeah.
And I mean, to me, it's like, if I'm going to watch a 10-minute video, I want you to like hit the nail on the head with whatever you titled this and just bash it in. Like, that's what I want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes it just doesn't happen.
Yeah, but yeah. I mean, I think it might become more annoying when you're like a consistent viewer, but it makes sense for somebody who's trying to gain new viewers.
Yeah.
So I could see that being annoying for somebody who's a fan, like consistently or whatever. But I mean, if you can kind of find the common ground of like, oh, well, they're trying to gain new fans. He's trying to
grow.
Like, especially if the video is still a good video, maybe it's over exaggerated, but if it's still an enjoyable video, whatever.
That's why I like where my life is at right now with my jobs. It's not too much. Mm-hmm. And then doing one of these episodes a week, they can be unfiltered. I don't have to worry about getting clicks. Like, oh man, I got to get all these clicks and views. Like, I don't have to rely on this as my income.
Right.
And so that's kind of a nice feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas someone like him, Ruslan, like that's his job. He's got to make sure he's up. And for me, it would almost like
if you go back to his old videos, it's probably not even as filtered. It probably was as he got sponsors, I'm pretty sure.
Does he have sponsors now?
Yes, for sure.
Oh, and then another thing, he kept having the commercial for his Bless God prayer journals.
Fire, bro. Definitely. You should do that. If you had, I would expect the same from you.
I definitely bought 2 of them though. So I mean, it worked.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was like.
But that's why he also has it. So if you like, because you can get a part, what they call it, Patreon. Yeah. If you get on his Patreon, you don't have to see any of those ads. So it's also like
right, it's at the PAM.
What do you call it? It's just like to get if you really want to support him and you really like what he's doing, it's like to help. I can't think of the word for it, but just to hopefully get you to commit to the full podcast with no ads.
Yeah, for now I don't even listen to a lot of YouTube right now anyway, so. Me
neither. This is probably the busiest season of my life, but it's been like the most restful at the same time.
What's busy about it?
I mean, just being in ministry is like a whole different, it's more restful in a sense of, man, it's pretty cool because, I'm around worship and just ministry all the time. So there's a lot of cool things that come along with that. Because obviously I was a plumber before this.
Yeah.
You'd get cussed out all the time. Being a plumber, like people I've had wrenches thrown at me, just like ridiculous stuff to where if you've never been in the trades, like you wouldn't be able to even remotely relate to it. But going from getting like cussed out and all that wild stuff every day to being in a ministry job is definitely a big culture shift. And so just that alone, even though like I feel more busy, like I feel more restful.
Yeah.
Not having to deal with just, because I get it. Like being in worldly jobs is fine, but being in the trades is like a next like level of worldly jobs. It's not the same as being a banker or working in an office.
Trust me, I know.
And so like, it's just it's like a next level of you're just like, whoa, I've never been treated that way in my entire life, and I've never experienced even a human being like you before.
I remember this was after I was managing jets, and I quit after 4 years. I was so happy, and I went to go be a carpenter, and I did it for 2 days. The guy was so bad, so like just nasty.
How old were you at this point?
I was probably 24, 25.
Was that when you were starting to get into that mindset of like, I don't know, I know that you've grown a lot since, I can't remember what age you feel like you got to like you got stronger mentally? What age would you say that was?
Boy, I would say I got strong mentally probably within the last couple years.
Okay,
if we're talking really strong.
That's why you quit so fast, because, bro, I stuck through it plumbing. Like I got crazy treatment, and the thing is, you couldn't complain about it, or like they would just, it like entice them to they want to get the reactions, they want you to, so you just have to take it and like oh, this doesn't bother me, and then that would get them to like chill out. But bro, I had days where, like, I mean, mind you, I've been plumbing for like 6 months, 7 months, so I don't know much about plumbing, especially when just starting off, like you're fire caulking like pipes, like you're not even learning plumbing. So I got put with a really mean guy, and the only thing I had really done up until that point was fire caulking. And man, this dude like would every morning he'd scream at me, he'd cuss me out, he'd be like, it'd be like how worthless I am, how like, dude, you should just like get in your car right now and go home, like, but screaming it, and then being like what? And then he'd look at me and be like, well, what are you just doing there, standing looking at me? And I'd be like, oh, sorry, I thought that was a rhetorical statement.
Did you actually say that to him?
Yes, I did. And he was like, no, like, he'd be like, why are you acting like a worthless piece of, like, and I'd be like, oh, like, he would ask me, he would say rhetorical things to me. He'd either ask rhetorical questions or say rhetorical statements that you obviously don't have a response to, but he would make you respond to it, like, be like, well, and he'd be like, and so really all you do is just be like, act dumb and just be like, okay, yep, I'll try to do better. And then you just keep your head in the grindstone and keep working, even if they're cussing you out and throwing wrenches at you and pulling you into trenches with shovels.
That's kind of pathetic on their end, though, I think.
It's a different culture, though. Like it's actually, in my opinion, it's like polar opposite of ministry, because like ministry is like, hey, let's encourage each other. If you mess up, let's be like, hey, you messed up, but like, you got this. Like, that's how we're going to build you and get you better, is encouragement. The trades, at least in my experience with plumbing, is like, we're going to treat this guy so bad and just make him feel like he sucks. And he's going to get really annoyed of that treatment to the point where he's going to rise to the occasion and be the best he can be.
Oh, I gotcha. Yeah. So like in order to avoid that happening, I have to get better.
Yeah. And it's almost like, even you could say like kind of military mindset. Like, hey, if they quit because I'm treating them like this, they weren't even cut out for this. They wouldn't have been able to handle the bad days in plumbing if they can't handle me.
Looking at it from that way, that might not be the worst thing. But
brother, I get that. I like, to a degree, for sure. Maybe
to a degree.
To a degree, but if you're screaming at someone who's been plumbing for 6 months about how worthless they are, and even telling them they should just go home because they suck, bro, who's gonna learn plumbing in 6 months? Like, especially if you haven't even plumbed yet. All you've done is fire caulked a pipe.
Yeah.
You're obviously not gonna be skilled in plumbing after 6 months, and so to bring someone down to that degree without having any experience, it'd be one thing if you, I don't think you should treat people like that in general, but
no.
If I was to say like a devil's advocate, I would say, okay, say even if you've been plumbing for 3 years and you've done all the things, and maybe you've been working with the same foreman and you've messed the same thing up, like this is your 3rd time on a different job site messing it up, and then be like, bro, what? And
yeah,
that'd be like the devil's advocate, but we're talking like new guys that are
right. And I definitely don't
grass.
think you should ever be saying somebody's worthless. I don't agree with that, but
yeah,
I think the harshness of it sometimes has helped me, because I also did electrician back in the day as well. That was way
now you're
back
a welder.
Yes, now I'm a welder.
But to circle back around, what even started that conversation, got into that huge tangent, but doing life's been super busy but restful at the same time. I've been, ministry is like, you take ministry home too. It doesn't just kind of stay at the house. I mean, you're kind of always, if someone calls you, or, it's like, you just take it home with you. So, and also like music and being married, and there's some things in the work that I won't mention on the podcast just because the wife doesn't want it to be official until it's official. And I will say it's not kids. It's something else. But
are you allowed to tell me off the air?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I probably mentioned it to you.
Maybe.
Yeah, anyways, but just a lot of like transitions, and I've been working on music a lot.
You did mention it. Okay. Yeah. Yep.
I've been working on music a ton too. A lot. I just made a song with Brennan recently. That was pretty cool.
Is another one?
Another one, different one.
And are you going for a full album, or are you just gonna keep doing the singles thing?
Singles.
Yeah.
There's no point in dropping an album. I mean, I would say the only point, and this is my opinion, it's not facts, but the only point in my opinion in dropping an album if you don't have any following would be, and to me, not having a following is anything under 20,000 monthly listeners. Maybe I'll say 10,000 to give a little bit more like leadway.
Yeah.
But the reason why I wouldn't drop an album is because if you don't have a following, no one's gonna really be willing to listen to 20 songs of someone they've never heard of that has 50 monthly Spotify listeners. Just the facts.
Yeah.
They might be willing to listen to one song, like, oh, this guy has a single, like, I'll check it out. But they're not gonna listen to your 20 song album and no one's ever heard of you.
Do you think it has to do with they might think you're kind of lame because you don't have a lot of followers? Because I feel like even me,
you just haven't built relationship with them as a fan or a viewer or whatever.
Yeah, as a musician, I'm more prone to listening to an entire album of somebody that I see, oh, they've got a lot of monthly listeners versus, oh, there's this new person.
Yeah, if you see someone
I think 50, I just assume they're not that good or something.
Yeah, I feel like if you see someone, and this is me just speaking from my opinion, obviously, and even from experience, because this is how I react to people's music too, to be honest. If I see someone with like 50 to 100 monthly listeners, unless I hear their first song, I'm like, wow, this is amazing. How are they not famous yet? Unless it's like that.
Yeah.
I'm probably just going to like listen to their top 2 most popular songs and give them a shot.
The one with the star next to it.
Yeah. And if it's like, all right, it's like, okay, this is pretty decent. I probably won't listen to their whole album, but if they drop another single, I'll check it out.
Sounds like not a very Christian thing.
How?
I'm just kidding.
I don't owe anyone my time for their music.
I know, I'm joking.
I know.
Have you heard about the fact they're going to be banning TikTok or trying to?
Yes, I have heard that. I feel like they're not going to end up doing it. It just seems like one of those things that's going to fall through and they're not going to commit to.
Yeah, but why are they? Do you know why they're trying to ban it?
Yeah, because China owns TikTok, and they guess that they've seen that this chair's so squeaky.
Yeah,
they've seen that. I think that they can like track people stuff. Like they can just get some information, and I think it has to do with not wanting them to get information that they don't want them to have. I think ultimately, to say it in like really like simple terms.
Oh, I also think it's because there's a lot of, when we think of like the political divide in America, which is crazy right now. I don't know. I can't help but see it on the news because I go to Planet and it's on every TV. Dude, with all the.
This is what I'm thinking, bro. I just had this thought right now, and correct me if I don't know what I'm talking about at all. But if China owns this app, right, and it has nothing to do with America, why can't America just ban TikTok and make TikTok?
Like make a new one?
Just make it, call it TikTok and everything. It's not like we don't have any like laws with China. It's not like there's copyright from China that they can sue us in America for. Right? Couldn't they do that?
I don't think they could sue us.
So why doesn't the government just, maybe this is like, I'm sounding really stupid right now, but in my head, this seems like it makes sense. You just ban TikTok and be like, all right, guys, here's TikTok. Again, literally the same exact thing. Here's TikTok. But it's the government puts it out.
I suppose they could do that. Because, I think the reason why they do want to ban it is because of China.
Dude, I feel like I just came up with a solid idea.
But trying to get that restarted. Well, Elon Musk did it with Twitter. So
he owns Twitter, though. Twitter never changed. Like, my Twitter account still exists. Yeah.
So everyone would have to make new accounts. Everything would be deleted off TikTok, and they'd have to start brand new.
Yeah, but people are so smart nowadays. There's got to be a way that they could be like, you can transfer your account to. Yeah. In some way, I feel like they could figure something out.
And most people, I'm sure, have their videos saved on their phone. The ones that they have. So
if the government owns it, why do they care? They're making all this money. Because I couldn't picture like someone who's not in the government doing this, because it seems like it's a government matter anyways to begin with it being banned and stuff. Yeah.
Well, I think it's right now where it's at. It might be good because I think that if you ever look at what's on China, because China obviously has TikTok too.
Yeah, but it's all good stuff.
Yeah, but for theirs, it's showing like martial arts and
yeah, it's all beneficial stuff.
It's all beneficial stuff, and then here it's just stupid stuff. Like some of the stuff that we send to each other is just like it's funny.
It is funny,
but it's just dumb.
It's one thing if like you just seen that video randomly, but like that's like all you're seeing.
Yeah,
it's not like that one funny video and then a bunch of beneficial stuff.
Once in a while there'll be something that's beneficial, but it's few and far between.
I'm obsessed with chiropractor videos. I don't
like the ones where they like crack their neck.
But like the decompression one where they like yank their head and it like decompresses their spine.
That's so it freaks me out every time I think.
I want to get it done.
I wonder if anybody's ever died doing that. You think they have?
No, I don't think anyone's died, but I'm sure that people that don't know what they're doing have messed people up before. If I was to get it done, I would only go to somebody who, like a famous person that's done it to like 100,000 people that just like has like a huge credential list of like, hey, all these people will say that this is legit.
Yeah, how do you get experience for that?
That's the thing that's kind of scary. Like I can imagine you
have to like ask certain people.
I'm not gonna be the guy to get trained on.
I gotta write my experience down. You want to be the first one? I know how to do it. I've practiced on dummies.
Yeah, there's no way.
Yeah,
I would never.
What if they paid you millions of dollars? What if they're like, hey, I've got even like 100,000 cash right now?
Wow, that's a really good. That's a good question. Man, dude, I'd have to consult my pillow on that one. Because it's a lot of money just to, it might turn out fine, but I know people personally who have been like injured from chiropractors and like still experience issues today.
What kind of, is it like bad enough to say no to 100,000? Are they paralyzed? Is it?
They just have severe back issues now.
Oh, yeah.
They went to a chiropractor that obviously didn't know what they were doing and injured them.
Well, who gives them their license is what I want to know.
Yeah, I don't know what the graduation rate of chiropractor school is, but I know the acceptance rate is 100%. Like you could apply right now and just get accepted.
To go to school for it.
Yes. Now you have to pass obviously to get your license, but I know it's not hard to get in.
Well, yeah, it shouldn't. I feel like it shouldn't really be hard to get into it. Or how smart do you have to be? I shouldn't say that, but
I'm saying like I feel like it's. I guess I asked Jared Blaukamp because he went to school for it, so he would know how hard it is or not to pass.
Does he have his license?
Yeah, he could go to an office and get a job as a chiropractor.
I just saw. Is he going to Botswana?
That's all of access. Yeah. Mission trip.
All of access?
I mean, I think they kind of kept it low key because they could only take certain people. Like they didn't advertise it as this big thing. It was kind of like if you heard about it and you ask, you could probably sign up and go. They kept it low key though.
And how long are they going to be gone for?
I think a week, maybe a week and a half. The layover is going to be insane. 19-hour layover.
Where is Botswana?
Wow, I don't know. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I could guess, but I probably wouldn't have it correct.
And is that where Bernie's at currently?
No, he's going to Pakistan, or he's already been going to Pakistan. Dude, I wish you worked at Res, bro. If you heard these stories, you would you'd poop your pants.
Really?
It's even a lot for me to where I'm like, what? There's no way.
No way what?
It's just like these stories are telling. It just sounds like they're straight up reading it out of the book of Acts. Just like ridiculous stuff. I probably won't say it on the podcast because some stuff isn't supposed to be told just to protect people in Pakistan because they're talking to really high up people that are in different groups. Like people like straight like how do you say it? What are like the popular terrorist organizations like ISIS and
Hamas?
The other one. What's the other one? Gosh, it's like the
Al-Qaeda.
Like they're just different people from these different groups are getting saved, and yeah, it's just they won't even share much more than that on camera. But I get to hear like the more details, obviously, because I talked to Bernie in person, and also like when they share with staff what's going on, they don't record it to protect identities and people from getting murdered for accepting Jesus. But I'd love to talk with you more about it off camera. I don't want to get in trouble for sharing too much.
Fair. But back to the Botswana thing is, like, what are they doing for a week there? I feel like, and this isn't like a bash on it or anything, but I feel like a week isn't long enough.
It might be 2 weeks. I don't know.
But for missionaries, usually it's like you move there for...
If I was to guess, I mean, they're only going to Pakistan for like a week at a time.
Oh.
Well, but a lot's happening in a week at a time. Holy cow, bro.
Yeah.
It's... the best way I could describe it without sharing the details is it's like they're reading the book of Acts to me. Like, just straight out the book of Acts. I'm like, what? Come again? Like, huh? Or like even...
Well, it depends on what parts, because there's also Saul killing Christians in the book of Acts.
I mean, that's happening too. Not from their hand, but from...
Yeah, no, it's scary, isn't it?
And what else was I going to say? Like, I was asking Jared about it a little bit because he's obviously he went on one of the trips, and I was just asking him about it. And he was like, do you know that verse in one of the Gospels where it talks about like all the miracles that Jesus did, and it says, you know, I can't even write all of what has happened down. Like, not even all the books in the world could contain all that's happened and all the miraculous things that have happened. And Jared's like, that's like how I would describe what's happening in Pakistan when they go. It's like just so much is happening, you can't even write it all down and track it all yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah, no. When you put it like that, I was like, oh.
Is he talking about like people being saved or miracles, both?
Everything that you could think of, like talking to. Bro, I mean, they're even talking to like high political leaders, like in Pakistan. Like,
that would be my scary thing. I'd be freaking out if I were them.
I mean, there's no reason.
Good for them. I'm just saying. Like,
they've been put in positions, bro, where it's like they should be dead, like low key. And a lot of these, it's like obviously God's protecting them because there's a higher purpose and calling as to what He's having them do. But I mean, they've been threatened so many times, of like by the people they meet with, like, I could kill you right now, and then those people either end up getting saved or, I mean, they go around with guards. They're not like not guarded. They're with legit guards, like dudes with like big guns and protecting them, but still.
Yeah, that'd still be scary.
Yeah.
That'd be wild stuff. Especially over there where the big Muslim population is, which is, you know, the religion of peace.
Yeah. Man, I'm trying so hard to like be filtered to a degree with that. There's just so much I want to tell you now that we're on the topic, but I hopefully we can get coffee and talk about it some more. I wish like Bernie could talk to you about it. It's so interesting. You're just like, what? Like, I feel like I asked Jared, I was like, how do you guys even like process all of that mentally? Like, do you just come back and you're like, was that a dream? Like, you know, when something that intense and that like those like amount of crazy things happen. And I was even asking Jared and Bernie. I don't know if maybe I just asked Jared this, but I was like, what is that like to process that, going to a different country and experiencing people so hungry for like the gospel, like just insanely, like they hear it and they're like, oh my gosh, like it's just like they want it instantly, to coming back here to like where it's so different. People aren't wanting it like that. People aren't really seeking that. You're getting rejected more, and it's just like it'd just be such a 180. Because you go to Pakistan and preach the gospel, you don't have the way they explain it to me. They're not even saying crazy stuff. They're like preaching the simplest gospel message you can think of. Like, it's just kind of like super basic, you know, Adam, Eve, you know, sin entered the world, you know, and then the only thing that could solve the sin problem is God's one and only Son dying the death that you should have died, and His blood paying for your sin, like something like that, like super simple. And they're like, I need this. Oh my gosh.
Well, I think that, when people hear the truth, they either like really need it and want to accept it, or they get angry and have to deny it.
Yeah.
And it's funny that in a lot of countries that aren't America, Christianity is growing. Like stories like that, I mean, it's awesome to hear, but I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
And then you say, when we're back here, it's like people don't really want to hear it. It's because I think Americans are just so comfortable. And a lot of them think that they're just saved because maybe they live in a conservative part of America. Like, oh, I live in the Bible Belt, I'm saved because of that.
Yeah, there's definitely a difference. I think it's hard. I think I've come more to terms with it, but especially me hearing all these crazy stories, and then to be so blessed, like it does make you more thankful for where you're at. But it's hard not to almost feel guilty sometimes. You know what I mean? You shouldn't feel guilty. Like you can't control where you grow up and how good you have it or how good you don't have it. And I don't think you should make it hard on yourself just for the pure fact of doing that. It's kind of stupid too. But just to hear like, wow, like I have it so good. That's like, wow, these people have it horrible and I have it amazing is like a huge reality check.
Yeah.
Which is probably healthy. It's probably healthy to have it's like, I don't think you should feel like guilt and shame for being blessed and not having to struggle as much as somebody. But it's definitely a good reality check to be like, oh, wow, like I have it good.
I have been thinking about that a lot lately because I'm like, man, I wonder if America's ever going to be in a situation where I could be killed for my faith.
Yeah.
With all these like protests and riots going on over the Israel thing,
I feel like
I have been kind of scared.
Gosh, I would love to talk more about that with you in person. The Israel and Palestine thing is really, I don't want to talk about it too much here, but I do have.
Why not?
Because I'll say this, for most churches, it's like, Israel's God's chosen people and like Israel is just really important to a lot of people. And so you just got to be careful about that just because some people just have really strong beliefs about Israel. And so.
Oh, I'm definitely pro-Israel, but yeah. Okay. So then I guess we'll move on to something else that I can't think of right now. What about
when
music?
Are you going to start singing? I know you're taking vocal lessons. What happened?
I stopped.
I know, dude. Start.
It's a lot of money. $100 a month for a half-hour lesson once a week.
$100 a month, half-hour lesson. So 2 hours, paying $100 for 2 total hours, $50 an hour.
It's usually about $25 for half hour.
$25 for that's not bad.
Yeah, but for a month that's $100, and that adds up $1,200 a year.
Yeah, I guess it depends on how motivated you are.
Yeah, it's not something that I really want to do. It was like I was taking them and then schedules got busy and I don't remember what was happening with Tiffany, but she was, I don't know, she stopped, like something happened. It wasn't like a big life change.
She's moving.
Again?
To Texas?
To Texas?
Yeah, I think I can announce that now. I think it's public information at this point.
Well, yeah, I hope the 5 people that listen don't find out.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, I didn't know that. Why is she moving to Texas?
She is moving to Texas because Tyler, the way that she worded it is Dallas is kind of becoming have you ever heard of Silicon Valley? How that was like the big tech. People moved to Silicon Valley because that's where all the tech stuff is popping off.
That's in Texas?
It's not in Texas, but they're saying like Dallas is kind of becoming the new Silicon Valley is what people are saying. Like that's the place where there's a lot of opportunity in the field that Tyler's in with tech. And their company's growing like crazy and the people they're talking to is like really high up and that's just like the next move and it makes sense for them to move there. And so that's where they're going. She's going to be I don't know how accurate this is, so don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure she said there'll be 6 months living in Dallas, 6 months living in Michigan, and they're keeping their house here and everything. They're not selling their house. They're turning it into a bed and breakfast actually.
Airbnb or an actual
a legit Airbnb bed and breakfast. It's gonna be like more legit though than the average Airbnb. It's gonna be pretty stinking cool.
What's more legit mean?
I mean, she's hiring tenants. So like I can't remember. I think what's her last name? Why am I Abby? She worked at Wild Roast. Twee. What's her last name? Her mom's Twee.
I know who you're talking about.
Okay, well, Abby and her husband are gonna. I don't know if they're married yet. They're either married or about to be married, but they're gonna hire them to live at the house. Like that's gonna be where they live in a section of the house, and they're gonna be in charge of like the bed and breakfast and everything. It's gonna kind of be like a hotel in a way, but a really nice house.
I never understood what an actual bed and breakfast is. I know it's because they used to have them back in the day. It'd be called a bed and breakfast.
Yeah.
And it's basically a hotel, but what makes it different than a hotel?
Do
they cook
you
food
get the whole
for
house?
you?
I mean, you have a whole house. You have kind of like people that will obviously they're making your breakfast. There's breakfast ready for you in the morning. I wouldn't be surprised if there's more perks. Maybe they're doing lunch and dinners. I don't know.
Ooh.
I don't know if that's what they're doing, but it's just pretty much like you have more. What's the word for it? Like people are, at a hotel. You might not get help for a while. Like this is like you're like the main priority at this place.
I want to move to Texas or Wyoming, but for the exact opposite reasons of tech.
Yeah.
I want to be a rancher.
Yeah. That's crazy. My buddy actually, because we're talking about Texas, my buddy Kevin, his cousin was living in Texas and he owned a really successful company that did like roofing and framing. And he ended up moving to Michigan and working with my buddy because for one, all his coworkers like lied and stole from him, like every single one. And so he had to like fire everybody now. And he was like one of the biggest contractors for his work there. And also if you live in Texas, I guess there's a lot of people that like, I don't know. I only know what happened with him, but there's a lot of people that are obviously coming over the border and stuff because they're a lot of people from Mexico that are just being let in. And they were taking a lot of the work specifically in Texas with his trades. Because I mean, like, people would have, this is how it was explained to me, so I didn't experience this personally. And I know some people it's a sensitive topic, but he would, they'd have a contract and be like, oh, the deal say the deal's $5,000 and they get it all worked out and whatnot. And they're like, yep. And then a week later, you have some people from Mexico or whatever. Obviously, they're not announcing themselves as that, but it's just like, hey, how much are they charging you to do this? And they're like, okay, we'll do it, but if you let us do it, we'll do it by the day, and you only have to pay us $200 a day. And it's like way cheaper. And that was part of the other reason why he moved. I know I went out on a little bit of a tangent because we weren't specific talking about that. We were talking about Texas, and that popped into my head.
Yeah,
I thought that was kind of interesting. I was like, oh wow.
Anyway, I just think it'd be cool to be a rancher.
Dude, I'm trying to get you to live at my house.
I don't want to do that, dude. I told you this already.
I know you did, but it'd be kind of fun. We'd have a good time.
We'll see where I'm at when this lease is up. I didn't what?
Oh, I was gonna say, when's the last time you seen their backyard? This backyard.
Years. It's been years.
It's fantastic. I was just. Gosh, I'm kind of airing myself out because I said I didn't want to talk about this, but it's okay.
Well, nobody knows yet.
That's true. And who knows? We'll probably sign the paperwork in the next couple weeks. So let this one come out in a couple weeks.
I'll try.
Okay, but anyways, gosh, if Kaylin, even though you say only 5 people, Kaylin will probably watch this just because it's me on it, and then she'll be like,
she ain't gonna listen to the whole thing.
Yeah, you're probably right. But anyways, yeah, I was at the in-laws the other day. And I was like, dang, dude, this yard is so nice. Like, there's just it's favor from the Lord. There's just no reason why me and Kaylin I guess we're not technically newlyweds anymore, but married a year and a half. Like, there's no reason why our first home should be like this nice. It's like, it's the Lord, it's favor, and it's pretty cool. And what I was gonna get at with that is, I mean, you'd have a place for no pressure to live there. I think it'd be cool, and I think it'd be worth it. But I mean, there's 5 bedrooms and a really nice yard and two bathrooms and huge living room downstairs and mid-level.
See, if I had the whole basement and it was to myself, you haven't stopped me yet, okay? And there was a kitchen down there, then I would probably consider it. But when there's 2 different groups of people, so you'd be like, you and Kaylin are like a family, basically.
Yeah.
And then me. And I try to cook something, and it's like, dude, we're gonna do that. We were gonna cook this. Oh, we needed this. Like, I can't do that.
It probably wouldn't be like that, though.
It would drive. Well, everybody says that. Everybody says how great it's gonna be living with each other. Those are always the ones that get the most annoyed.
Dude, no, I mean, my life has been nothing but transition and like having to learn patience and whatnot. So I think I would probably be the best roommate. I'm not even saying that necessarily. I just believe that even apart from if you're to move in. I mean, bro, like, I've just had to adjust my whole life. Like, I just feel like it's always been adjustments. I mean, my dad got in a car accident when I was like young, and he was pretty much handicapped. And then went from my parents had a lot of issues in the beginning, and I was the child that was vented to about that at like 10. And then to go on to my mom passing away, to my dad being like, "Oh, we're selling the house in 1 week. Make sure to move all your stuff out and get it to your grandma's." That's not a lot of notice. And then I lived in a soup closet for 2 years. You know about that. I lived in a soup closet for 2 years, and then it was like, hey, okay, we're moving to this new house. I had my own room for 4 months. Then I'm married. My life has been like the crazy. You grow as a human in a lot of ways.
You grow living in a soup closet, I would imagine.
Yeah, and so all that
would teach me a lot.
All that to say, I think I would be a good roommate because it takes a lot to get me annoyed. I can handle quite a bit and be super patient.
Oh, I'm more than quite a bit. No, I'm actually not. I'm not annoying as a roommate. I'm the one who gets annoyed. So maybe it would work if you.
Well, I'm one of those guys where like you could, like I said, I could handle a lot. If you were to be like, bro, I can't keep having this. Like, I think I wouldn't be the guy to react to like, bro, like, be like, dude, you just gotta deal with it. Like that wouldn't. I would probably help us get to common ground with something. I'd be pretty understanding, I think, with a lot of things.
Yeah, my only thing is the kitchen, and then if it's like the living room, which I don't mind, if people want to sit in the living room, it's called the living room for a reason. But if I'm reading a book, it's like, what part of an open book with my face in it says that I want to talk to people?
Yeah.
And that happens every time. It would happen every time with most of my roommates. I'd be sitting there reading, and then they sit down and want to have a conversation. It's like, dude.
Even, not Amadeus, though. He seemed like he was pretty keep to himself. Or no?
No.
You feel like it was like that with all your roommates, though?
All my roommates.
But all your roommates were those type of people. You know what I mean? Like, I've never been that type of person. You know I haven't. I'm so different from all the people that you've lived with in the past, personality-wise.
What type of people are they? I'm just curious. Like, what do you mean? Like, there's people who want to talk?
How do I, like, I guess I can't say as every single person, but what's like not a lack of social skills, but a lack of like understanding of like environment sometimes, where you just like don't think twice about something, you just kind of do it.
Yeah, that's true.
And not necessarily with, obviously, like, I'm not saying that they were like that in everything, but like they're not the type of person the mindfulness doesn't necessarily come natural in like I would say at least the roommate area.
Yeah, that's a fair statement.
And I would say and with some of
mindfulness, that's a good one.
And it would trickle into other things too. I'm not saying it was just roommates, but I just want to be respectful and like protect integrity. I know no one on here would know what I'm talking about, but people probably watch your podcast know who was roommates with you.
Yeah, some of those roommates listen too. Ethan, one of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love you, Ethan. Hope you're safe in wherever you're at. I think it's
Stop interrupting Caleb when he reads his books, Ethan.
He'll think that's funny. He's in what, New Mexico now? That's crazy.
Are you serious? Gosh, man. He wants to experience life to the fullness.
I think he's just a different breed.
He's not. The way that he wants to experience it to the fullness isn't the way I would experience it to the fullness, but it seems like the right move for him.
Yeah, I mean, how many people do we know that?
Most people wouldn't want to do that.
No.
But he finds a lot of pleasure in that challenge.
Third time. Different trail, but third time doing the same idea.
Dude, I was randomly thinking this the other day. You said we were talking about Ethan and trails. It made me think of this. Like, I forgot that Mammoth Cave happened. Like, I was like, we did that. That just feels like a dream.
Dude, I think about it all the time.
Doesn't it? I don't know. To me, it felt like a dream. I was like, oh, we did that. That happened. I forgot that we went there.
It does feel like a dream in a sense because I think it happened so fast.
Yeah.
Drove up there Friday, spent the day there Saturday, and left Sunday. It was like...
Yeah, that's probably what made it feel more like a dream because it was like, boom, done.
Yeah. It would have been nice to spend a little more time there and have it not be so rushed. But man, the post-vacation depression hit me so bad that time.
I didn't feel that.
I think it was like...
all the Taco Bell you're eating.
I think that's what it was. It was like my entire diet. Bagels, Pop-Tarts, Taco Bell.
What do you usually eat?
the opposite of all of that.
What, like salads and meat?
Eggs, yogurt, granola, tuna.
In a can?
In a can.
I love tuna.
I think tuna is
disgusting. You do tuna sandwiches, or you just like eat the tuna?
I do the tuna sandwich without mayonnaise. I hate mayonnaise, and tuna is absolutely disgusting.
Is mayonnaise good for you or bad for you?
Terrible.
It's pretty bad for you?
Yeah.
Gosh, it's so good. What would be a good substitute then for your tuna sandwiches?
It's disgusting. It tastes so gross.
Well, I like tuna. I like tuna on a sandwich with mayo, but if mayo's like defeating the purpose.
So the way that I tolerate it is I put 2 pieces of bread in the toaster oven, let them get a little crispy, and then I put the tuna on the bread, put it back in the oven so the tuna is cooked a little, and then I can eat it that way.
What I do for it is I put my bread in the toaster, and then I put the tuna on my bread. I put mayo on it, pickles and onions.
Ugh.
And I actually like that. But I feel like if I went without the mayo, it'd be considered
Is the tuna
healthier.
cold?
Yeah.
Oh.
I like it.
And that's coming from a guy who eats sardines.
I actually enjoy that. Like, that's actually good to me. It's funny that you don't like it because you're usually like the guy that eats stuff that I don't like.
Really?
Or I feel like I said that came out wrong. You eat a lot of things that I don't eat. Like you're healthier. So I just figured that you would actually like that.
I'm trying to get to like it. The reason why I eat it though is because fish is really good for you. Tuna is pretty cheap. I can get a can of tuna.
Mm-hmm.
And in one serving, it's like 25 grams of protein.
Yeah, I was lacking in the gym for the past, I'm going to be honest, probably a year. I'm locked in now, though. You never lacked, I know. I haven't lacked a day in my life.
The last 4 days, I haven't gone because I got...
Oh, wow.
I actually was... Whatever you had that Monday that we were all supposed to get together...
Yeah. You got sick, too?
I got something.
Yeah, I got better pretty quick. I don't know why, but that Monday when I started feeling bad, I just started eating I only ate healthy foods. I was having the emergency C packets. I was eating a lot of spinach, and I felt better so fast. 2 days, I felt better.
I should get those emergency things.
Yeah, I was taking 2 or 3 a day. I'd take one in the morning, I'd have one for lunchtime, and I'd have one before I went to bed. And I was just I felt better in 2 days.
Yeah,
not fully better, but my sore throat went away quicker than I've ever had a sore throat go away.
I think it was a combination for me because I woke up Wednesday with a sore throat.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think it was that and then allergies. So I was getting both.
I don't really get allergies that bad.
I do.
Luckily.
And I like to walk around Millennium Park and Amon Park where there's trees galore. And I have tree pollen allergy.
Ooh, I want to start doing more walks at the park.
That's so nice.
I go on walks at Res all the time.
Just outside?
For sure, dude. That's the one really cool thing about ministry jobs. Obviously, you can't go on walks all the time clocked in, but I mean, you can if you're gonna go listen to the Bible app or listen to a book that's actually spiritual, good for spiritual growth or something. You could go on a walk for 30 minutes and listen to the Bible app or something, and that's totally fine. And that's pretty it's pretty refreshing to do that.
Could you ever be like, hey guys, I got to go on a 2-hour prayer, so I'll be out walking?
I mean, hopefully you're actually doing that and it's with purpose. Well, if that's actually if that's something that's serious and say hypothetically there's a big event happening and someone was wanted to be alone for an hour and pray, sure. I haven't really ever experienced that actually at all, but I'm sure no one would question it because it's not something that usually people are like, hey, I'm going to be gone for 2 hours and pray. It's not, yeah. But I'm sure it'd be okay if it was legit, sure.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's legit. Hopefully if you're working at Res or any church, hopefully they know your character.
Yeah. Because you don't want to, I wouldn't, I feel like it'd be so wrong to mess around with that kind of stuff. Say you're going to do this and then just so you can get a break or something. And
yeah, I'm pretty, if you're actually pursuing the Lord and you have the Holy Spirit, you should feel convicted if you even think about trying to cheat hours in some way. I would be sick. Like I couldn't do that.
Yeah,
I'd be sick to my stomach. There's just no way I could ever do that.
Me neither.
Yeah. But yeah, that's so. Yeah, we're talking about walks to the park. I mean, even I'll just be at home because obviously I live right by Res, and I'll just like every time Brendan has came over, he's came over a lot. The past like 3 weeks, he's came over every week for 3 weeks, and we go on a walk. We walk around Res like as a circle and go like the long way through the woods and stuff. That's like super relaxing. And we just talk and hang out.
Yeah, because they own part of the woods, don't they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they own like 12 acres, something huge.
Oh, really?
Maybe it's more than that. They own a lot, bro.
I didn't know that. I knew they owned a lot because they used to do paintball out there.
Yeah. I mean, they're building that House of Hope. That's like Rez has done a lot of cool things that I think is so sick, but I'm like, wow. I mean, name another church that has done that. There's so many churches that could do that. I'm not shaming churches that don't do that, but man, that's just like, I've always felt like proud to be a part of Res, but that right there, I was like, dang, that's so cool. That makes me really proud to be a part of the church.
Yeah, how is that coming along? Is it?
Dude, it's really good. I mean, I just found out that because it was initially where it was like Res was gonna pay to have it put up, and then whoever the organization was gonna like fund it yearly. I mean, now Res is gonna fund it yearly and everything, so. I mean, like, that's going to be a lot of money. But that's just, that just shows, like, where their priorities are at.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it cost over $8 million to build this house on their property. And it's going to be probably like $1 million a year to keep going. I mean, they're going to be having, like, blah, blah, blah words. They're going to be having nurses that, like, work there and like therapists and nutritionists, and it's going to be like the whole 9 yards. And those are not cheap people. It's not cheap to pay for that.
No, not cheap at all.
But yeah, there's just, I love Res. Like we were talking about, you know, I don't agree with every single message that was ever spoken there. There's things that I'm like,
better not say that out loud.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but I don't think there's anything where there's never been anything where I was like, oh, that's heresy. But there's just stuff where I'm like, I don't fully agree with that, but cool. But
the heresy word only came out for me with some of the guest speakers that they'd have. But
yeah, but the things that they are doing for people and the money where they put their money is like super encouraging to me.
Yeah, for sure.
And they keep it all in the books. And I don't know, I love it. And when I hear about the stuff they're doing, I'm like, dang, I'm proud to be tithing to this church. I seen this is because we're talking about tithing, and I seen a Instagram video. It was like some random sermon. It wasn't like anything profound. It was like just a normal, like, you know, Instagram sermon. And I just tend to read the comments on those because I don't know why. There's just always funny, like, arguments on those like Christian sermon comment sections.
Trust me, I know. I've gotten them on my own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, somebody said something about like, why would you even pay to come to this? And for one, I didn't say this, but in my head, I'm like, no, it's free to go to church. I don't know what this person even means. I think they're referring to like, why would you tithe to a church or something? And then there's another comment that's like, it's free. And then the person was like, yeah, but people still give their money. And I'm like, I just had to comment. I made a comment to this person, and I was like, I can just read it verbatim because I can't remember exactly what I said. It was something along the lines of, okay, here it is. I said, how else do you expect a church to sustain itself in any capacity if nobody tithes / donates to their ministry? Like, people complain about tithing in churches being like, you know, talking about tithing, and because money is such a touchy subject, because I don't know, people are obsessed with money, I guess. And they think if someone asks for donations that they're like the devil, which is hilarious.
Yeah, asking, not forcing.
Yeah.
It's not like the Mormon church where they literally check your pay stub.
That's insane.
Yeah, Alec was telling me that when he was down in Utah.
Yeah, it's
like,
pretty
crazy.
Oh, yeah, for sure. That church is like losing people by the masses.
Which one?
The Mormon church, just in general.
Oh, I thought you meant one that they went down to help. I was like, I hope not.
Yeah, but anyways, like, I just think it's crazy that people get so worked up about churches and people tithing to churches, and I'm like, you do realize like a church could never sustain itself in any capacity if people don't tithe.
Unfortunately, the only churches that are making headway are like the ones where it's clear that they could be spending their money somewhere better. And so then people get all mad about that. So that's where my understanding comes from. I don't agree with those comments saying like, why would people pay? Because nobody's forcing them to pay them. They're just giving a message on tithing and why tithing is important. And yeah, a church needs people to give to continue being in operation.
Well, it's usually the people that are commenting that I can only assume are either one, people that aren't Christians.
Yeah.
And
probably
two,
not.
Christians who don't tithe and feel some sort of guilt or shame, whether they're willing to admit it or not. And so they like try to make a case for why do you tithe.
Yeah, they're trying to make up for it or something.
I like tithing. I mean, I'm a joyful giver. I don't know. I don't know if you're supposed to, but they say not to talk about that. I don't know. It says in the Bible to be a joyful giver, and it doesn't bother me to give to church.
I think that it's better to give than to receive. So I like to give people the opportunity to give me money. No, I like...
Plugs his Cash App.
Hey, guys, in the description. No, I like to give. I don't know what I would consider joyful. No, yeah, because I'm never
where it's like, how do I say it? What does it say? Like, you don't give because God's going to give you something back.
Yeah.
But it does talk about in the Bible, like when you give, it just seems like you get blessed. Like without even
I
trying.
I definitely have. I also think it comes from, and it sounds backwards, but when you give, especially when it's like as soon as you get your paycheck,
yeah, it's
like you have to budget that in. So you say, oh, I gave this much to church. You give 10%. If I'm giving 10%, it's 1,000 weekly. It's not that much. But
I've been blessed so much. Like I just like to credit it to tithing. So I don't know. You just give and then you're like, wow, holy cow, I'm getting blessed so much. This is like you obviously just praise God for it. And I don't know. I just noticed that I've never lacked. I've always been taken care of.
Yeah, same. There's definitely weeks where my paycheck does come and I wait a couple days. I don't know why. It's like I'm almost...
You actively wait? Like you're like, okay, I'm going to wait to tithe.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like, it's almost... There is some weeks where I would say I am reluctant to give. I still end up doing it, but it's like... For some reason, I just think that by keeping it in there longer, I'm going to have more money.
Yeah.
And then eventually
I'll tithe right before my paycheck the next day. So then I wake up and it's like, oh, no money left.
Yeah, or something like that. I don't know what my brain's thinking, but there is definitely some weeks where I'm a little more reluctant to.
I just forget sometimes to do it. To me, I'm not like on a schedule. I'll get paid and then I might do it right then and there. I might forget and be like, oh, okay, I don't think I tithed this week. And I'll check my checking account and be like, okay, I didn't tithe, and then I'll tithe.
Yeah.
It's usually how it goes for me.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's getting kind of late. Almost my bedtime.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize it flew by.
It did fly by. So, thanks for coming on. Great conversation.
Yes, sir.
Definitely have to have you on again sometime, ?
Yeah, I feel like it's easy for us to just talk.
Yeah, well, it's easier when I'm friends with the person or good friends with the person.
Yeah.
To just sit and talk.
Yeah, but would you say that it's always interesting conversation?
With everybody that I've had on here?
With your friends that you talk to that you have on?
Yes.
That's nice.
And then even the ones that aren't friends are still interesting, but it's a little bit more interviewy, and I don't like those ones. Because then there's so much pressure on me where it's like, I have to listen to every word they say, and I have to ask a question about what they're saying.
Yeah, unless you're like... interviewee a person that's like that has some sort of status. Yeah. Like Brennan Joseph, right? I said you should like interview like he's really big in ministry in Grand Rapids. Like that would probably be more interviewee.
Yeah.
That'd be a little different.
Yeah.
It'd feel a little different probably than interviewing your coworker at Jets. I'm just hypothetically saying person.
Oh wait, none of those get saved.
No.
I'm just kidding. I don't really know all of them at Jets. I know some of them, but maybe. Actually, one kid at Jets was on here. He was like, I think it was one of my first episodes.
You guys are probably somewhat close, though.
Yeah, first video episode I did. But anyway, everybody, thanks for listening, and have a blessed week.
Bye.
Bye.